benefactors, that they learn that by being annoyed by the TE, like you learn that other people do other things, other ways too. Because I think that the problem with like me and ESTPs mostly is like, why are you not doing it the way that everyone does it? And like, so you learn from them that you don't like that when it's done to you.
Well, a benefactor relationship is only a benefactor relationship if, in its actuality, when it works out like that. In this case, my ESTJ benefactor is actually a benefactor to me.
Yeah,
my dad,
legit, like.
But it doesn't have to play out that way. It could be that I have a friend who's an ESTJ, Alarino, and we kind of had a falling out.
Well, they say that if the beneficiary has any ideas or wants to do something new or like that isn't within the benefactor's plans, that's where things start to go awry.
Right. Yeah. If the relationship doesn't work that way, if it's in fact the other way around, that like, well, they need to benefit from me, then they're not really prepared to benefit from me.
No, they don't want to. They shut down usually.
Yeah.
It's like me and ISFPs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't like to benefit from ENFJs, I guess would be the equivalent.
Yeah.
Good morning, Zaylen Black. How are you this morning? Is it morning? Oh, it's early morning where you are. It's still 10 p.m. where I am.
Where are you at?
East Coast, Eastern time zone.
Oh yeah, early morning, like as in like 1.
Yeah. So this video is called Locus of Control, Fear and Resentment. So it seems to me, as I was thinking about it in the bath today, that if you really break it down, that people experiencing some form of negative manifestation of self, whether it's feeling bad, displaying badly, being angry. Like when I was with Kimberly, I had a problem with getting very angry at her because, well, she provoked me to get angry at her, so she'd succeed in that and then I'd get angry. Mostly she provoked me by not answering my questions, by being obstructionist when I was trying to solve problems with my words, by not affording me sufficient trust to actually solve the problem. It's like if you're determined that everything I'm going to say is a trick trying to get you, then I'm never going to get anywhere in my solvency, right? I'm just going to get very angry.
Yeah.
So when I started thinking about these sort of things, it made me realize that whether or not your fear, whatever you want to call it, expresses as resentment, which often displays as anger, or whether it expresses as fear, which can manifest as different kinds of things. It can manifest as, negativity or expressing doubt, or it can manifest as excessive bravado, or it can manifest as just bolting, running away or something. It's like, the thing is, it's a matter of locus of control plus actual locus of causality. So the thing about psychology, it talks some about this idea of locus of control and says that that basically people have either an internal or an external locus of control. An internal locus of control assumes that the person themselves is responsible more or less for what happens to them, and that if things go well or poorly, it's because of choices they made, and if they make good decisions, then they'll have good outcomes, right? That's an internal locus of control.
Oh my god, I literally was just reading an article about this. They were talking about motion sickness and problems with control.
So the thing is, if you have an external locus of control, you assume that it doesn't really matter what you do, shit just sort of happens to you based on other people's wills or circumstantial decisions. Now, the reality is, for some things, we ought to have an internal locus of control, and for some things, we ought to acknowledge that there's an external locus of control, and certain kinds of circumstances are conducive to correctly interpreting it one way or the other. But the reality is, most people have a general locus of control they apply as a default to everything. A person either thinks, by and large, everything is their fault or up to them, or they think, by and large, everything's not their fault and not up to them. Not their fault or responsibility, but not they don't get credit for it either. Then, I mean, it's like, so in general psychology, thinks an internal locus of control is more healthy. That people who think themselves to be responsible for what happens to them is a more healthy kind of approach. However, the reality is, it's only a more healthy approach if and when it's genuinely not, when it's genuinely, you have something to do with it. If, I heard Teal Swan saying the other day about how if she's talking about basically child abuse, saying if you're a little kid and you're being double bound by your parents and being forced to relinquish aspects of yourself in order to avoid this abuse in some regard, that you still have a choice. That ultimately you have to understand that you chose that. You could have taken the consequences, man. Out of it. Bullshit. That's an example when you need to have an external locus of control. That genuinely was not my fault. I had nothing I could do about it, and these things were being forced upon me by the external world. In other circumstances, it's the case that we ought to take more accountability for things. So a lot of people tend to make the locus of control external when they feel bad. So, it's like spite monkeys are examples of people who misdirect what ought to be fear based in internal locus of control, and they experience it instead as resentment in external locus of control. Of course, I'm not really responsible for their bad feelings. I'm just I'm an inevitable consequence of bad behavior. No, not FI users necessarily. I'm just saying that there are, for parties who, in fact, the spite monkeys seem by and large to be FE users, not FI users. So I don't find it to be the case that being a spite monkey correlates with being an FI user. I think to the contrary. Yeah, it's an FE thing. And it's a locus of control problem. So it's like, for those parties who feel as though their feelings are caused by me, then they're misunderstanding where the locus of control on this point ought to be. Namely, that since I'm not lying about them, then the problem must be what I'm saying, the truth of what I'm saying, not that I'm saying it.
Did they say more stuff? Like, did you read her WhatsApp thing? Like,
No. I'm just using that briefly as an example on this locus of control thing. Because really, thinking about the locus of control issue is something that I've thought mostly about regarding Rachel and the challenges that she's faced in having basically the healthy way of doing things, which is to have a fundamentally internal locus of control, but having been for quite some time prior to moving with me in circumstances where it was actually the external parties and external world were actively working to reduce the capacity of her to make agential choices. So it had to create a lot of frustration and dissonance. Only an NI dom would be able to persist through all that without being thoroughly gaslit by it. Anyway, regardless,
True.
it made me think about this locus of control point that, for somebody like me, I have an internal locus of control, sometimes to a fault, but mine at this point is fairly well balanced out. To be optimized for me means to apply an external locus of control where appropriate and an internal where appropriate, um, to to engage neither in uh, false modesty or falling on my sword and taking blame unnecessarily or taking it all on my own shoulders. To not engage in those kind of things is part of my process of objectivity. It's to note that there are circumstances where the other party simply at fault. Um, they've wronged you in some way. They've engaged in some unjust behavior, and thus incur the according statuses. Bill T. Walton, guys. Bill Walton's here.
At least someone is like who's different.
Bill Walton, you know how I feel about your basketball broadcasting.
How is Bill Walton doing without vocalizing what he has to say every like 10 minutes?
I'm Bill Walton.
People at home are like,
I gotta put him on the
back
list.
to work.
I've got to put Bill Walton on the list here under ESTJs. ESTJ. Bill Walton. Bill, worst basketball announcer in history, Walton. Ew. Whenever I see Bill Walton, that's what I say. I say, ew, disgusting. Please no Bill Walton.
Why was I reading? Oh yeah, because I was reading the spiritual things about like vomiting, and they like the doctor was saying that a lot of people whose lives or have anxiety about the external locus of control have motion sickness because they're not flying the plane, they're not driving the car, they're not driving the train. I have it with airplane sickness. I really do. I freak out. And then I realize how much of a control freak I am. Like, I don't know how to fly a plane. This dude is an ISTJ. He knows, like, everything he's doing, but it doesn't matter. In that moment, well, I could, like, rationalize the shit out of it. I still hate it.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that that the physical getting car sick, it is an interesting link. It's not something I was thinking about really when I think about locus of control. I'm really thinking about basically a way of talking to oneself, like, and justifying and understanding things. So it's such that if a person is going to be mad at me, they're going to be mad at me either justifiably or not justifiably. And whether or not it's justifiable depends on basically my actions or lack thereof, and whether or not that legitimately changes the locus of control from them to me.
That sounds like such kid stuff. Like when you're like get in trouble as a kid and you fess up.
Well, what I'm saying is, if in fact I've taken actions that are illegitimate, you might say that one way of defining that would be I incorrectly make the locus of control external. If that in the ideal world, everybody's choices are unleveraged, unpressured. That people freely choose everything that they do, and that there's genuine consent in the world. That's to say, fully informed consent. Of course, that's not how shit plays out a lot of times. But my point is that to have fully informed consent requires that you permit somebody a genuine internal locus of control. That is to say, to the extent that it is possible, allow other people and facilitate other people in making their own decisions, as making as realized decisions as they can. Not trying to remove things that pressure them towards ways of being that aren't consistent with their authentic self. And yeah, that's an external locus of control. At the same time, there are realities of the external world that people will sort of pretend aren't there or not. It's like when a person invests their meowing at you, like, well, you need to meow, 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 meow. Then when you go, well, I'm running into this roadblock here in the process of trying to meow, 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 meow. You said you wanted me to meow, 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 meow. This is the issue I'm having. Well, then it depends whether that's a legitimate issue or not, and whether the person just wants to meow, 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 or wants to facilitate or help. If they genuinely want to help, then they'll evaluate whether or not you're inappropriately putting the locus of control externally, remembering that they've taken on some of that external locus of control by meow, meow, meowing you in the first place. I mean, it's a complicated equation. The point is that it's certainly plausible to have too much of an internal locus of control. I could be guilty of that sometimes when I insist that we just need to choose and decide things and then follow through on our choices and decisions. I'm denying a certain reality that I am, Filter. In fact, I've been working on a document to prep myself for that. I'll probably make a fair number of those in the morning tomorrow.
What?
I want to make some function typology videos tomorrow because I made that chart, with the list of. I think I'll do.
We gotta be as accurate as we can because, I don't want to be a hypocrite because that dude was right with some of those characters.
No, well, I mean, of course, I'm always as right as I can be. I think I'm going to do each type separately to just break them into manageable sizes. Do a quick type description, a couple different kinds of type description. Talk about in terms of values, skills, descriptions, behavior descriptions, things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 25-minute video for each type, probably total. And then part of that video being lists of celebrities and fictional characters.
Right. With pictures.
Yeah, with pictures. Shouldn't be that difficult to do. Okay.
It could be pros, cons, and stereotypes.
Yeah. Am I going to lecture with a wand? No. Well, I'll have a document set up that I think what I want to do in this video, and is have it laid out like first this, then this is all the topics they're gonna do, and then set it up in the video so that it's like on Sports Center where it says coming up next, and then as it gets to that thing goes up, and then it goes away, and then the next thing goes up. I think that'd be a very effective device to keep people watching the video.
Yeah, people do like that.
So Ghost Rider asks, how are you all this amazing evening with the capital Z?
Ooh, why is it so amazing?
Well, the capital Z brought out Zandy immediately thereafter.
Oh,
so obviously that's how you call Zandy.
So cute.
You capitalize a Z in the middle of a word.
Cute. That's a nice friendship thing. James
is normal this evening. Emailed Anthrax.
Normal? That's good to know.
Emailed Anthrax is fine. I'm a little kind of sicky feeling a little bit. A little like pukey. A little bit of needing of sleepage.
Yeah.
It's already 10:30. I gotta get up at 9 in the morning. Or 8. I have to leave here at 8:45 to go take the car to get to oil change. I'm not feeling terrible. I'm feeling a little bit like tore up, maybe just sort of. It's been a busy day. I got a lot of stuff done today, which is nice.
I feel like for me, like when I got sick, I feel like it's just like I'm going through like a spiritual like purging of stuff, Like I should not have been on that Zoom call yesterday. I did something that what I've learned is that INFJs should not do stuff when they don't want to do stuff because it just ends up being really like existentially fucked up for them. I don't know. It does for me. If I, it's killer B.
Yeah, you're used to putting in the being compelled to put in a certain amount of legwork just to be, and you ought not. I agree with you completely. The thing is, I listen to that whole thing. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I listened to a bunch of it.
Yeah, he was in the room long.
I couldn't listen to it very long because it was just unbearable. It's like, I want to stress, there is not anything going on in those conversations that comprises any particular kind of aggressiveness to Rachel, although it is true at the same time that there manages to be a little like one little snarky remark here or something.
Yeah.
But what makes it unbearable is just the banal, sensory heavy, just people talking about nothing, just a bunch of FE expectations and SI expectations and no ideas, and everyone's just supposed to fit into the box that they've got them in already. And Rachel has no room to do anything because it's a fucking, after, I would not have lasted 5 minutes in that thing. I think, okay, I can't,
No, I forget. I think my sister muted herself like after a little while. My sister didn't really engage. She was in the dark for some of it too. It was like a weird.
It was a party for some like 13-year-old cousins.
Yeah, so my cousins turned 13 and they wanted to have a birthday party with everyone there through Zoom. So we did that and most everyone showed up and it was just
it's unfucking bearable. It's so pointless. This is one of the problems that I had as the husband of an ESFJ. I was expected to go to these family things, and the problem is, of course, these family things are boring as fuck. Nobody has anything interesting to say about anything. So I would go there and try to make it interesting myself by going around like interviewing people
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
or making little videos or doing. Of course, the ESFJ wife is mortified. You cannot be weird, Eric. What are you doing being weird? The point is, so you're saying the problem here that I perceive is you want me to go to these things. And the problem for me is going to these things is absolutely fucking torture. So I've got a great solution. Why don't I make it more fun? And of course, the wife says, no, that's not a great solution. If it's more fun, then it's worse. It's like, no, don't make it more interesting. You're supposed to like it as it is.
Right.
Okay, but only nobody can like that. Who could like that?
Well, they do.
They like it.
They were really happy to be there talking to each other. I know my cousin was really happy, my cousin Melissa, because she set it all up and, 13th birthday for her first child. She wants her to have a birthday party and it's COVID. Although I have a sneaking suspicion that they probably had a party anyway, too. Like they all live very close to each other. Like,
well, I mean, the thing is, it's not just sensors. It was also the setting of this video conference. In a normal family party, presumably some of these people would separate off and talk to each other separately. It's a bunch of people all talking over each other. And I don't have any problem with sensors as a general rule. What I'm just saying is family stuff in particular. Okay? Family stuff. Remembering that I have my own family stuff full of sensors that I had to go to. And typology is blatantly anti-sensor. I don't know if that's really true or not. I just think that, intuitives are going to obviously favor intuitive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And think that it's important.
On my tests, I always, even though they were wrong answers, I always got intuitive, always. That's the clearest distinction, sensor and intuitive.
I mean, there are more bridgy types, like ENTJ is pretty bridgy type.
And ENFJ too.
ENFJ is too, but less so because they're FETI instead of TEFI. So, it's like ENFJs, they go FE and I, that's both metaphysical. Sure. Then their SE. Their SE tends to play out more I guess, ENFJs are less likely to run that marathon or triathlon that ENTJs have been training for.
Definitely less likely. Like my brother's a coach. He was on teams, but he wasn't. He was like the cheerleader for the team more than like the star, if you get what I mean. But he enjoyed being on the team. He enjoyed his role. He didn't care. Now he coaches, and it's exactly what he wanted to do. ENTJs, I'm watching Community right now, and if Chevy Chase is a ENTJ, it shows, it's all physical comedy, like from what he wears to, but he's still like a weirdo. He still gets like the sensor nuances. I think he does a lot of, what do you call it, improv in that show. He's just so weird, even for me, I'm like, wow, he's showing his weirdness.
I want to talk to everybody a little bit right now about this thing here.
Yeah, it's a pretty treat.
We went to the herbarium tonight because, let me tell you this. I looked online, and what I saw was $120 an ounce. What? Well, I had to go down there and check it out. And sure enough, $120 an ounce. And it's out the door. It's tax and everything included. And this is at a white market store. It's a great deal.
Yeah, it really is.
Ounce of, now granted, it's not the strongest weed in the world. It's called berry nectar. It's only 15% THC instead of 30 or something, but still. Okay, did the room ever unlock? At the moment, both the rooms are locked. I'm assuming that Whereby did that, and we'll have this issue resolved soon enough. I gotta find out from Lifebulb if they've followed up with her yet. I got a lot of things done. Well, Ghostwriter, it's, the percentages are not the only thing that matters in terms of how high weed gets you. It's weird. Like, this is pretty stony weed. I can get a bell ringer from this, no problem. Granted, it's not like the super dankest, but the problem is we smoke a lot of weed. So, it doesn't matter really what kind of weed we get. We kind of smoke the same amount of weed. So this smokes good. This is good smoking weed.
I'm happy.
Yeah, the percentages.
Not too coffee either.
Not too coffee. No, it's low in CBD, but
this is like the stuff that I would get in New York. You know what I mean? Like, this is because New York, you don't really get what you get. You don't really get like a choice.
I mean, because you don't have stores.
Yeah, right. So
let me get my looking glass. Where is my precious looking glass?
I thought it was over there. It is. It's not.
So here's my eyeglasses. This will do. Let's see. All right, so this is total cannabinoids per batch, 14.5%. Of that, CBD is only 0.081%, less than 0.1%. So it's all THC, basically.
All THC, basically.
Directions: ignite and inhale.
That's funny.
That is funny. Oh, is that how you smoke weed? You ignite and inhale? 28.3 grams, 1 ounce.
So, can I just say, like, a really fun fact?
Mm-hmm.
That, I don't know if a lot of people here watch, I'm just going through my, YouTube wall, and, I watched an Infinite Waters Diving Deep video today about, like dealing with difficult people, I think it was, or family members. And he uses Frank James's music in the end of his credits. So it's like YouTuber using YouTuber material. I think it's kind of cool.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think they should get money, but that's me.
Christopher Hitchens was saddened by his mother committing suicide after her participation in a religious cult. Who's Christopher Hitchens? furries. Are furries people who dress up as animals and then have sex with each other?
I don't know.
Is that what a furry is?
Did you know that? So I learned today that Oops, I Did It Again and Hit Me Baby One More Time were written by basically like the Swedish house mafia people.
Swedish House Mafia?
Yeah, DJs, Swedish DJs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had no idea they even had a hit. They found out and they were like, I guess we're gonna celebrate.
Wow.
Yep. They're like cursed now. There's like they like once Oops I Did It Again came out, I guess she started working with other people and like they still made hits, but they're like locked down. Yeah. It's fascinating. The other side of the world.
Oh, he's an anti-theist. That guy. Yeah, he's not interesting at all.
It's a strange handwriting.
I believe she might be an INFJ too. Yeah, really. No, Jason Blood. Hitchens is boring and dumb. He always argues against the least nuanced understanding of faith. He never does any actual framework. He doesn't go, okay, well, let me acknowledge that there are other frames through which we can understand these different sets of metaphysical language. You know, I mean, it's like, look, I used to be an anti-theist in high school. By the time I was in college, I was already bored at that particular inanity.
So the place was 40 minutes away?
34.
That's not bad.
It's true I haven't read his book.
Did they hit on you?
No.
I'm...
Nobody hit on me. I didn't even think about it at all. It just... by the time I got to the front of the line, I was mad because of stupid ladies. They were being so dumb in front of me in line. You just fucking... You stay outside and shut the fuck up, and you just get what you're going to get and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's like there was these two ladies. One of them was standing in the door, like leaning in, and she's like, "Wow, do they have me? Oh, you gotta be kidding me! How long is it gonna take you to get your weed and get the fuck out of here? I gotta get weed too." Okay, maybe he did plenty of great stuff. I don't know, Christopher Hitchens. I'm not impressed with divisiveness. You know. And anti-theism is a form of divisiveness that says, I'm going to take this side of the position and not that side of the position.
Oh.
Take, for example, something that's definitely anti-divisive, being transracial. Being transracial is anti-divisive. I'm not taking any particular position on race except to say that all of the positions are stupid. Now, that's not divisive. Maybe it makes everybody hate me, but it doesn't divide them at all. You see, at least if anything, it unifies them against me if they choose to have that response, or they can sort of recognize, oh, Eric's right. That's the other possibility. But regardless, it's not divisive.
I love you.
Thanks. I love you too, my precious wonder.
Metaphysicals need to touch more, I think.
We can touch right now. Anytime you want to
I
touch.
know.
I'm always touchably fresh.
No, no, we do touch a lot.
I spend a lot of time douching. That is true, Jason Blood.
What?
That I have not read his positions before commenting on his positions. I will say that I do know he's an anti-theist, and that I feel well versed enough in anti-theism in general to recognize it for what it is, which is either pointless because the framework's done properly, or stupid because you're arguing against straw men that don't ever exist. That's my understanding of anti-theism in general, not of Hitchens in particular. My dad agrees with you, Jason Blood. My dad likes shit like that. He reads those. He reads that guy's books.
I looked up the books that you were talking about just to make sure that the character that you labeled me as was cool, and I agreed with it, and I did. Thanks.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you were really asking me to use my SI there on that series. It's been a while since I've read it.
Mm-hmm. Because some people could see the wrong answer. I remember someone was like, "You remind me of this character." I'm like, "This character dies." Like, what does that mean? So do you think I'm weak? That's how I interpreted it.
Which character does?
In the Vikings show.
Doesn't like everybody die in that show?
Oh, fuck that show.
That show is so brutal. I watched one episode of it and I couldn't watch anymore.
So there's two women that he has. He has his queen who is mystical and metaphysical, has a son with.
Mystical queen.
But she's like a bitch.
Bitchy mystical queen.
And then there's his like childhood, like hot blonde Nordic, like I am the salt of the earth.
Salty Nordic.
Yeah.
There's salty Nordic and mystic queen.
Yeah, and they killed the mystic queen, and someone told me that I was the mystic queen, and I was like, "Fuck you."
Before she died.
Yes, before. No, like I've been also called 16 Candles. You know the movie 16 Candles? The girlfriend. The mean girlfriend.
I don't remember the movie very well.
Okay, so like,
I want to address this thing here that Jason Blood says. He said that Marxism as an idea has great value, and that the modern interpretation of Marxism is very different from the original conception. Except that's not true at all. Like, every Marxist avoids the same fundamental question: how do we attain these purported ideals, except through pointing guns at people and forcing them to agree with our own perspective and calling it everyone's perspective.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact idea it's always been. It's been the idea that we can pretend like we can force everybody to do it the same way without forcing everybody to do it the same way.
I want to say that traveling to Eastern Europe, going to Austria was life-changing for me. I was mostly on tour buses for that, but the tour guide was maybe 10 years older than me, maybe even younger. And her parents lived through, communist Russia, and they said that they found out after that everything they learned in their life was a lie. I mean, I don't know. That pretty much it affected me when I heard that. Like, it sounded like it was like she didn't even have to say anything else. Like,
I just knew how terrible of a time that must have been for people.
Yeah. Is war inevitable? Um, no, I mean, I guess it depends on how far back you pull in terms of the zoom on the time frame. If you pull back far enough, then sure, war might be inevitable. But what we see in general is a move towards ever less war. Nuclear weapons have been a powerful force in reducing the frequency and severity of war. Since nuclear weapons were introduced, there have not been any major wars between major powers, and there probably won't be, because the reality is it doesn't take long for a major power to yeah, it was better than avoiding the community entirely. Uh, it made me mad listening to him because bullshit's bullshit.
Do you really think he's like an ESFJ?
I think he's either an ESFJ or an ESTJ.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason Blood, I'm not going to dispute that there was an existing injustice that um, somewhat explains why the the wrongness of Marxism would erupt as a proposed approach to this injustice. The the problem it's still fundamentally the wrong angle. The right angle was always, how can we empower each individual to independently exercise their own agency? It's the opposite question that communism asks.
That's what our fucking country was founded on.
True dat.
God damn.
True dat.
And honestly, I'm proud to be living here. And if you're questioning the United States of America because your president sucks, you need to adjust your thinking and start to look into history.
Okay. Swift Eagle says that he thinks that CSJ is an ENFP. I don't think so.
No.
I really don't think so. I think he's third slot innie. To me, that's what third slot innie looks like. The TI is either fourth slot weak AF or fifth slot ignoring. When asked to talk about validation, he never really talks about anything that validated anything. He talks about his mentors. People paid less taxes and had happier lives under feudalism. Well,
when?
Yeah, they may have paid less taxes.
When did people not pay taxes?
No, they paid less taxes under feudalism. He's saying. So that, in other words, in the Middle Ages, people probably did pay a smaller percentage of their income in taxes, but they also lived in mud. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Maybe we can live in the avocado tree.
Yeah, Jason Blood's got a point there. Also, people were slaves, mostly indentured, and could be murdered in any time of feudalism. The merchant class, though, hey, Jason Blood, ignore those people you're talking about. Let's talk just about the merchant class. Among the merchant class, there was a lower tax rate, and generally, when surveyed, the merchant class in the Middle Ages reported a higher quality of life, a higher appreciation of life than does the modern average American.
What about when the Tea Party happened? Do you think they were happy then?
Who?
The people who were trying to get their taxes.
The Tea Party? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like, I'm just trying to get taxes from the Queen. And they're like, no, we're pouring the tea into the ocean. Bye.
No one owns their own land, says Waldo Ludowski. Try not paying property tax and see what happens. Well, I mean, the thing
Only
is,
New York.
ownership of land is, in fact, a it does incur taxes. You know, property does incur taxes. But the thing is, there's some good reason for that. Of all the communist bullshit out there in the world, and all the socialist bullshit out there in the world, there's one thing that you'll hear them sometimes talk about if you listen to smart ones from a long time ago that actually is a matter of concern, and that specifically is land monopolies. Land monopolies are a serious matter of concern. Not so much anymore as they used to be, but there's a good reason for there to be property taxes. It's one of the few things that ought to be taxed.
You know what? You want to hear an interesting story? When I went to Germany, I went to a concentration camp that was basically set up for the United States FDA approval to go over, or whatever. The Red Cross had to approve these cleaning stations. They call them fucking cleaning stations, and it was also a holding cell for the person who killed Franz Ferdinand. So it's like, the idea of freeing people in such a way like communism may sound good, but that guy still rotted in the same kind of cavern that like other people did, and it's just not good. I'm telling you, it's bad news bears. That's bad juju. He killed Franz Ferdinand, and he died his own brutal death. Like, that's just, don't stay away from communism. It's bad juju. I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right. So I tend to trust Zandy's read on C.S. Joseph when she says that she doesn't see any FE in him, which would take me back to where I started with him, which is I think he's an ESTJ. Sorry, Swift Eagle. I know Swift Eagle doesn't want C.S. Joseph to be the same type as him, but we all have some people. Like I really wish I could go along with other people who go, Obama's an ENFJ. Obama's not an ENFJ. He's an ENTP.
No, but he does realize he's a boomer, and he looks extremely old right now.
Does he?
Yeah, he looks worn out.
Well, I guess president ages you,
It does. They show before and afters.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like.
Don't worry, I'm going to be going inside in a little bit. I'll stop talking.
Rachel, baby cakes. You don't got to.
No, I'm annoying myself.
The thing is, to the extent that I sometimes don't hear everything you say because I get distracted by what's being said here in the live chat.
Just communism is way scarier than young people realize. I think it's it can be for people who are searching for answers. I think it can like provide some clear-cut answers in a rational way, but when it's actually implemented, it's terrible. I mean, it's just like, you pretty much saw it in China.
Well, look, it's a description of a status quo without any attention to how that status quo came to be. So if you were to describe the status quo and say, how can it be fair that these people have so much money and these people have so little money and blah, blah, blah. Well, the answer is, well, because of all the stuff that came before now. And communism wants to ignore all that and say, nothing came before now. Nobody deserves to be rich. Well, there's your problem. It's like the idea of justice stems from the idea of ownership. You can't have justice without ownership. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be able to own everything or anything. In fact, increasingly, I think people are realizing that owning actual objects is a way to tie yourself down. It's like my, my INFJ mentor. Everything CS Joseph has the explanation for that.
That's funny.
Okay, but if it's FE, negative FE like that, and that's all the only kind of FE you really see from him, that's more likely to be 8th slot. ESTJ.
I just like
INFJ mentor is like his saying, no, I get I here's my NI validation. He said so. That's NI, right?
Token INFJ friend.
Yeah, he's NI and he agrees with me.
Yeah, it's just like in South Park, Token having like the black kid. You have to have an INFJ friend to be a legit type biologist. That's funny. That's so old school. He sounds like he is like born in the 1940s.
Who?
See, it's Joseph. He has very old school mentality.
Yeah, well, the economist Gail Braith early on predicted we would become a Starbucks study, wanting material goods more than moral good and wanting an authority figure to think for us, said Plato. I mean, I don't think so. I think that what we want is comfort, most of all, and that when we attain comfort, it enables us to become increasingly responsible moral agents.
Yeah.
Like, the more comfortable, the less ontological assault you undergo, or the less actual stress in terms of like worrying about shit, then the more likely you are to attend to other matters. Now, it is true that people need some challenges in their life. Some people need and benefit from having a lot expected of them, having a lot demanded of them. Like, probably there's a lot of people who would benefit from being tossed out into the wilderness at a certain age and being told to, make your way back and survive and tough it out and experience the hardship of the process. It's not the case that kids are necessarily lazy at all. It is the case that kids are directing their energy and attention to things that some people value and some people don't.
Yeah.
If playing video games is lazy, well then sure, kids are lazy. But kids always want to play games of some sort for all time's history. Thing is, it's a strong use of negative FE is to develop an FE for a slot is done with a purpose in mind. Maybe. I mean, I will say this. It seemed like 4th slot TI to me, not 5th slot. But those can be hard to tell apart. All right, games generally feel like work to me too. I got this game that not that long ago called Mad Tower Guy or something, and I tried to start playing it thinking it would be fun, and I guess just don't like that sort of stuff anymore.
Did I play with you?
No, it was the other night when you were asleep and I was out here. I just opened it up and looked at it a little bit. It's a like resource distribution game, the sort that I used to like to play, like SimCity, but.
Well, there's that. SimCity.
I just don't find I really like games much. I guess AI Dungeon.
I think games are only really fun for me if I'm playing with someone else. I practice. Don't get me wrong. I'm a practicer. Like if I'm really into a game and I really want to beat the levels, I'll practice. But most of the time, I like to play with friends. There's nothing for me here, so I will disappear. If she turns up while I'm gone, please let me know. Oregon Trail's a good one.
That's true.
The
But-
old one.
Let's check out AI Dungeon here. This
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
There's no fun in what I do if she's not there. Nothing for you, so I will disappear. I really like
Okay, pick a setting. Let's pick fantasy. What do you say?
Yeah, that's probably the best one.
Oops. Pick the character. What do we want to be?
Mediocre.
Mediocre? Squire?
Yeah.
What's the character's name?
Square. Squitherby the squat.
Squarely Wizardcoddle.
Oh, coddle.
Squarely Wizardcoddle.
Does it speak out loud? Because that's even better. I love it when.
I don't think it talks out loud. Maybe I can get
Oh.
it to, though. Maybe if I go like this. You can have it read out loud.
Computers talk like that.
There.
You are Squeerly Wiser-Coddle, a squire living in the kingdom of Larian. You have a spear and a pack of supplies. You follow Sir Theo as he enters the forest. He turns to you and says, "I've been waiting for you." "Sir," you ask. He smiles at you and nods. He then walks forward slowly, his face showing no emotion.
What do I do? Ask him to show some emotion.
He has an air about him that seems very aloof. Even when you were fighting each other, you never showed any emotions towards one another.
Ow.
Begin to cry. Who are the two men?
Your tears fall freely down your cheeks. The two men look at you with surprise, but they do not say anything else. They continue walking into the trees, leaving you alone.
That's really fun.
You need to push enter and the story will continue without you. Okay. Guess not. Leave me alone. Look for a nearby inn. You look for a small inn on the outskirts of town. It's called Larian Inn. You enter and order a room for yourself. Rest in my room. Okay.
You sleep in your room for several hours. After all, you don't want to be out in the wilderness by nightfall.
True.
Tip: use the remember command or the pin button to edit the story context so the AI always remembers. Huh.
So
Okay,
like
what should
your
we do?
name will the AI will always remember, right?
I guess I'm not sure.
So like your favorite color.
Tip: use the alter command to directly change the AI's response to your input if you want to make some changes to it. Oh, you can alter the command like
So it's daytimes and nighttime.
Sir Theo. This like should be edited here, but
Oh wow,
all right,
that's cool.
let me close that. All right, so what should we do now that we're awake, Rachel? What should Squirrely Wizard Coddle do?
I don't know. He wants to go into town. I want to go into town and see what's going on.
Go into town. Well, he's at the inn at the outskirts of town. Okay, well, yeah, sure. I think
Yeah, I'm thinking because I think he's feeling squirrely.
go into town.
I think he's got to find some food.
Okay.
I'm kind of thinking it's nighttime, so if he's looking for maybe gossip from the town people.
Find some food. I walk through the streets of the city. Many people are standing around talking or doing something else. Some are even playing instruments. Find some food. You find some food. You notice a stall selling various foods. You buy some bread from it and eat it while you wait for the sun to set so you can return home. Okay. Chat up some ladies.
I was gonna say, let's see a pretty girl.
Compliment Mary on her clothes. She bailed on me. Go back to the inn. My room at the inn. Check
I gotta get my phone first.
the inn for entertainment options. Take a quick look around the inn. There's nothing on offer, so you just decide to watch TV for a while. This inn has a TV?
This isn't fantasy. What kind of fantasy is it?
Well, it's a medieval TV, I guess. After watching some TV for quite some time, you hear someone knocking at the door. Say, who is it?
What?
I didn't say open the door. I said, who is it? Take his staff. then closed the door on him. Hide the staff under my bed. You hide the bellboy, maid, and other members of the staff under your bed. No, not that kind of staff. The staff has been gone. Has been gone? What do you mean?
They left.
Find the staff. Wake up. I fell asleep again. Okay.
This is just saying it's nighttime.
Dream about my lost staff. Determine what is missing or wrong. It says here, you awaken to a strange feeling. Something feels off here, like something is missing or wrong. You think you might be having a nightmare, but then you remember that you don't usually have dreams when you're awake. Uh-oh. Demand an explanation from the innkeeper.
What happened?
Well, I looked around my room and I noticed that all the items were neatly arranged on shelves, not lying out in the open like they had been yesterday. In fact, most of them aren't even in their original locations anymore.
Uh-oh.
And demand an explanation from the innkeeper. Where I want to go first, find the innkeeper's buxom daughter.
What did it say?
Okay, it says you tell the innkeeper's daughter that you need to speak with her immediately. She tells you that she'll meet you outside the inn. As soon as she leaves, you run after her. Ask her why she wants to talk with me. Even though I'm the one who said I wanted to talk to her. The girl runs away as fast as she can. You call after her, but there's no answer. You try calling her name several times, but no response either. Return to the innkeeper and say, what's the deal with your daughter, yo? Why she gotta be all mysterious like that? Good question.
Mysterious.
He said his daughter was talking to someone else earlier today, but she left before he could do anything about it. Ask who she was talking to. Who's she talking to? Some old man. Well, she's back now.
What?
She's back now. She said an old man named Zal. Find Zal. Gotta find this Zal character. She tells you she doesn't know anything about him, but she thinks he lives in the woods near the end. Go to the woods near the end. You head over to the woods nearby the inn. When you arrive, you see a large wooden door. It seems very well made, so you knock on it. You just put enter. A voice answers, and when you enter, you see a young woman wearing a dress of bright colors. Her hair is tied into 2 pigtails. She smiles at you and greets you warmly. Say, well, hello there. Good looking. I say, well, hello there, pretty lady. I'm here to talk to you about something important. The girl blushes and looks down. Yes, she says nervously. Ask why she is nervous. You ask the girl why she's nervous. She tells you she has been told many things by many people since she was little, but most of them aren't true. Ask for an example. Like I was told that frogs were giraffes, but they're not. She tells you that it would be one of those stories about how the sun shines and makes everything grow. Ask what really makes things grow. She tells you it's the sun shining on them. Is the shining sun a lie? Ask if the shining sun is a lie. She asks the girl if the sun really does make everything grow. She tells you it's not a lie, but she can't tell you much more than that because it's too complicated. I see. Which people lied to her? Ask her who lied to her. Ask her who lied to her. You ask the girl who lied to her. She tells you it was a boy called Zal. Ask where Zal is. That Zal is getting into trouble. That's where I am, stupid. But tell her I am there now. She thanks me and leaves with her mother to go back home. Explore woods. I find myself, as I walk around through the woods, I don't know, I find myself looking at trees and plants I've never seen before.
Are you with her? Or you
No, she went home with her mom.
That's good.
Search for Zal. Where is this Zal character, anyway?
Such bizarre.
As you continue walking, you come across a small boy playing with his dog. He looks up from his game, sees you approaching him. He waves happily to you, but then quickly runs off again. Throw a rock at the boy. You throw a rock at the boy. It hits him square in the face, knocking him backwards. He is running away from me. How is it hitting him square in the face? Demand that the boy tell you where Zal is. Tell me where Zal is. Where's
I love this game.
Where is Zal, boy? Ask if Zal is a man or a woman. I shout at the boy, demanding to know where Zal is. He tells me he doesn't know where she is, but he knows she's somewhere nearby. Ask if Zal is a man or a woman. You ask the boy if Zal is a man or a woman. The boy tells you that Zal is neither, but he thinks she might be pretty. Eat the boy's dog. You grab the boy's dog by his collar and force it onto your lap. You tear off chunks of meat from the dog and devour them. Find a horse. I need to ride to a different town. Obviously, this town is boring. You find a horse. You run along the path, finding a horse lying dead nearby. You pick it up and ride away from the inn on a dead horse. Revive the horse. You see a large group of people. You revive the horse and ride away from the inn. You see a large group of people running towards you. They look very frightened, but they don't seem to want anything to do with you either. Grow bread at the people. You throw some bread at the people, which causes them all to scream in pain.
What is this game called?
Ask why bread hurts them so. It's called AI Dungeon. Ask bread. Ask why they are so hurt by bread. They explain that bread has been known to cause sudden death, but they still want nothing to do with you. Bread causes sudden death? I didn't know that. That makes me worried. Make friends with one of the people. Soon you become a popular person among the townspeople. Form the townspeople into an army. You form the townspeople into an army and march out of the inn. As you walk through the streets, people stop to thank you for saving their lives. Just like COVID. You don't have to do anything to save lives. It's amazing. It's a miracle. Invade neighboring town. With army. You march out of the inn and head towards the nearest town. You enter a tavern, order ale for everyone there. Everyone drinks until you get back home. What? That's not an invasion. That's an expensive outing. That's totally not an invasion. Find some swords. You go outside and find several swords lying on the ground. You take them and return to your house. The next day, you wake up early, prepare yourself for battle. Finally, see, find some enemies to stab with my sword. You search the woods surrounding your home and find several enemies to stab with your sword. Eventually, you manage to kill all of them. Search my fallen foes for plunder. I search my fallen foes for plunder. You search the bodies of your slain enemies and find loot. The loot is worth more than the gold coins you had found earlier, so you decide to keep it. I don't remember even finding any gold coins from earlier. Invent the steam engine. You spent the rest of the day inventing the steam engine, which takes about 2 days. After you finish, you put your invention together and try it out. It works perfectly. Amazing. Build a riverboat that uses your steam engine. It uses the new steam engine. It's important. I build a riverboat. I spend the rest of the day building a boat using a steam engine. It takes about 3 days to complete. Invent riverboat gambling. You spend the rest of the day gambling on the riverboats. You win quite a bit, but you lose quite a bit too. Finally, you realize you need to hire someone else to help you with this task. Oh, okay.
Wait. Can you use the suggestion? There's a meme that says, my mom was mad because my dad wasn't giving her attention. So she lit a paper on fire and held it to the smoke alarm. Can you add some smoke alarm somehow?
Find my mom and dad. You look around and see no one around. You call to your parents, but they aren't anywhere where you think they would be. Right? Text mom about dad. Send a message to your mother asking her if she knows where dad is. She replies saying she doesn't know either, but then tells you he went to the city. Then why did you say you didn't know at first, Mom? Go to the city to find dad. You go to the city and ask people about dad. They say he's probably at the university or something like that. You don't really care, though. You just want him back. Explain to the people that mom wants dad's attention.
This is a real coronavirus song. Can I play it?
Yeah, let me just. What is this?
I hope to see a musical like that soon.
Well,
Oh yeah, the AI will.
someday, Rachel, you and I are gonna go see, some sort of new production of Menopause the Musical. Let's see.
I want to play the AI dungeon with you tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we're gonna end my AA dungeon for the moment. You tell everyone that Mom wants Dad's attention and he should come home immediately. Ask Dad what he thinks. He replies by saying he doesn't care what Mom does since she's his wife. That doesn't make any sense, Dad. Actually, you can say things.
Oh my god. I fucking love that you know this game.
Oh, there's more
This
than
is
just
perfect for you.
what happens next in the story.
You have a baby.
Everybody complains for a full hour.
Wow.
Everybody complains for a full hour. Eventually, they agree to give Mom their money instead of complaining anymore. You get a lot of money from this game. It's so easy to get money. I didn't even know I was trying to get any money. I was, just by having people complain. I got some money. Pretty good.
You need receipts.
Okay, that's enough of this game.
That's a great game.
It is fun. I like
That's
it.
something that me and my siblings would play as kids.
And thank you for sharing that with me, whoever shared that with me. Hi,
Yeah.
the generalist. Cloud is a dude playing dude disguised as another dude. Possibly so, yes. What good is imagination if it can't be used in the real world?
Oh, the kitty.
It's not good at all.
The beautiful kitty Capillo. Beauty pageant winner, yes. The kitty pageant winner, yes. You won. They chose you. They did.
I've read that angels have sex through high-pitched sound. Tried it, didn't like it, says Nicola Shea.
Where's your poo-poo? I'm getting in it, yeah.
I think angels make love by fluttering their wings at each other and saying tee like that. I'm so angelic. Tee. Hi to Tom. Tom's here.
To Tom. Boom. That's what I do to you because I'm your mommy and I love you. That's exactly why.
She's your mommy and she loves you. Yes, she does. It's a feline, cause she's your mommy and she loves you a lot.
Yes, what a beautiful kitty.
What a fantastic feline friend.
Oh my goodness, the majestic.
Angels probably can shapeshift and create both organs according to their needs. They're autoerotic. That is wild. It's wild news. Wildly exciting news. My cat's Enneagram type. She might be a 6. She might be a 4.
She's skittish. She's very skittish.
She might be a 6, I think.
Yeah. She's more skittish than she is pretentious.
Okay, I will, Sky Gear.
Could she be 6'4"? Is that a possible combo?
Yeah. Yeah, she could be 6'4". 6'4", 6'4", 1".
She does look at trouble and is like, ha, I'm inside in this cozy nest. And you're a tomcat.
What's my favorite color? Asked to Tom. I never really was able to answer those questions adequately. I guess I would say brown or blue.
I love you.
love you too, precious wonder pants. Are you tired? I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm very tired. I'm just finishing this bowl and then I'm gonna go in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Poop brown. It's my favorite color.
I like that.
It's a good
You're a
color.
nature boy.
Mm-hmm.
You really are a nature boy.
I am. I'm full of natural natures.
I'm surprised you wear flip flops.
They call me nature's candy. Really, nobody calls me that, but if they were to, I'd know what they meant.
You're nature.
I bet my INTP dog can tell me who my mother's father's grandmother's second cousin's father's only daughter's and Samantha's first daughter is. Totally. Totally, your dog can. If your dog's an INTP, of course, yeah. Woof, 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 woof. Oh, that's right. Your dog would be like, actually, there's two possible answers. Depends if your mother has more than one daughter.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, my dog burned me. I got burned by my dog. Nature's candy.
That AI dungeon is nature's candy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Apparently, you could do a lot more with it than we're gonna do.
Cool.
That was fun. We'll play with it later
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna smoke this cigarette, then I'll be ready for bread, as they say. Which is a very fancy way of saying bed.
So the plastic cup that I got for like $2.99 from wherever we were, it was broken. It didn't work. So like I was thinking I was doing a good thing by getting like the cup, like, and it didn't. It kept on leaking. No wonder it was $2.99.
Billy Watkins, what is happening? Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of the other. Many, 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 many things are happening, including your brother.
Do you think that ETVs make good directors?
Possibly. I think NFTs are at their best when there's a lot of FE consequences online. In other words, a lot of people are counting on them. They're at their best.
That's true.
And when they don't have people relying on them accomplishing things, that's when their TE is not applied at all. I want to listen him tell me I'm a shallow, selfish gamma quarter person. Ooh. Wait, email anthrax is a she? Who's saying that? That's not true. Email anthrax is not a lady. Email anthrax is obviously a dude.
Who's saying that EA is a female?
I'm looking up to see. I'm not a she, James. Email anthrax is a he. Email anthrax is a he. See, I told you.
Yeah.
Billy is a good man. Is Billy a good man? Well, good for Billy. Lamdachi 1826. You seem like a real Billy fan. Hashtag pray for Billy. What's wrong with Billy?
That sounds like a line in a 70s or like one of those cowboy shows. Like, what's wrong with Billy?
What's wrong with Billy?
Yeah.
Hashtag pray for Billy.
Yeah.
What don't be happening to Billy? Lamdachi 1826. Is Billy from 1826? Hashtag Billy Strong.
Picky people.
Hashtag Billy Unite. Let's all unite around Billy. He's had a terrible accident.
What? He loses marbles?
He lost the front half of his body in a train accident.
A train accident?
Mm-hmm.
It's a front half.
Where did I leave?
A literally physically edgy person? That's me, Kyra. I've got the pointiest hip bones you've ever
Yeah.
seen. I am an edgy person with my bones.
I love it.
That's where my edges come from.
I want my charger for there it is.
If you were your charger, you would have lost yourself.
I didn't.
Unless this is yours. But I might be able to use.
I don't know if it,
No, I think it's mine.
I have no
Yeah, it's
idea what
mine.
that is.
My earbuds. My earbuds.
I was born with man parts, says the mailman threads.
But.
I also was born with man parts.
Oh, never mind.
Fortunately, I was born with different man parts than you. We don't have to share, and as a consequence, Rachel only gets all the air she can handle.
Oh, I can't handle.
I love you.
I love you.
You're my pile of moist dampenings.
Oh my gosh, so much dampenings today. I think. Aww. It's hard to not
Those are
know when to
kisses.
Stop.
Kisses and emotional loves.
Aww. You're like, now get away.
No, I don't mean now get away. I am going to wrap this up, though, pretty quick. No, Billy Watkins. I'm sure you're going to perhaps get a little trolly here with something. I don't know what it is, but I can smell it in the air. Yeah, I got to split, y'alls. I'm going to bed. All right, thanks for being here. Don't forget to plenty of cheese.